Okay, so today we are going to talk about your amazing stranger offers. The last 2 weeks we have been working on identifying what your niche is, getting your business organized. But in the discovery of your travel niche and from last week's uh, lessons, you should, be working the schedule, or you maybe have met with some of your ideal clients and have started your marketing interviews, done some research about where your client is, who they are, what they're struggling, and you should start to be drafting a really good idea about who your client is. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to take that knowledge and we're going to create a what I refer to as a stranger offer. You may have heard it referred to as a freebie or an opt-in. Whatever you call it, it's intended to start attracting strangers who meet your ideal client criteria to your business, such that you can start a relationship with them and ultimately convert them into a paying client. So today we're going to talk about the elements of your stranger offer, what makes a good stranger offer, how to create it so that it'll be ready for us when we get ready to design your sales funnel. Okay, so what we're going to go over right now is, why you need to market. Some of this may be redundant for you guys because we've talked about it multiple times, but I'm going to give you a really quick refresher about why it's important to market, the different stages of our customers, and where we're going to begin. So, three real main reasons to market your business, and that is for you to get the name of your business out there, to ensure that people start to recognize you when they're in need of your services, your name comes up. And so that's referred to as brand awareness. The other thing to market is to ensure that you are increasing or you're engaging with your customers, right? Either existing customers or prospective customers. So you want to ensure that you've got some activity around building that engagement. And ways to do that include having contests, challenges, events, but again, you want to always be on the forefront of your customer's mind. And obviously the last reason to market is to ensure that you're increasing sales, right? Is to sell something, right? And you do that through promotions, programs, direct offers, and you want to make sure that you're making those increased sales offers directly to acquaintances and existing clients. You do not want to be trying to sell directly to strangers because they don't know you, right? They don't know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you. And it really is expensive to try and do your large ticket items or your for sale items to strangers. And really, ultimately, the biggest asset that you can have is the number of people who like, know, and trust you. So what our jobs as marketers is to do is to increase the number of people that are exposed to our business, build that relationship so that we obviously are increasing our assets, which is the number of people that like, know, and trust us. All right, so we're going to review this system just so you guys are familiar. And this is my ARC system, where what we are doing as marketers, businesses, number one job is for us to market our business. And the purpose of that is to attract. And what we want to be doing is consistently attracting qualified prospects and leads into our business and into our sales funnels, such that we can build relationships, nurture those relationships, and provide value to them according to whatever product and service that we're selling. And ultimately, our job is to convert, right? We want to provide solutions to their problems or to satisfy their desires. Whatever they want, we want to make sure that we've positioned ourselves as the person to fulfill what they need or want. All right, so how do you do that? And the way to do that is for you to create a product suite. And that product suite, really, it's a product / service suite. So I want you to think about your travel business as really a menu, right? That you are going to provide your customers the opportunity to select from. You're not just selling one thing. You're not just doing one thing as a entrepreneur inside of your travel business. You are going to create multiple services and or products for your people to choose from. And we're going to talk through what that means. The first service or product that you are going to create is the attracting product or service, right? And that is intended for you to attract strangers, right? It's a free product. It is not something that you charge for. It will be considered a value to your customers. And this is what I'm referring to, this first step, the first item in your product suite. Now, again, when I say product suite, I want you to think of that interchangeably as services as well, because when we talk about your travel business, we're not going to only be selling travel. We're also going to create services within your business that you will be selling. I want you to have multiple let's say avenues of revenue coming into your business. So we're not going to just be selling travel suppliers items. We're also going to be creating services within your business. So again, I want you to remember to think of the word product interchangeably with services. And we're going to be defining those services over the next several weeks in terms of what it is that you're going to be creating. All right. Now, we've talked about this. If you guys participate, I think all of you guys participated in the 5-day challenge. One of the things that we talked about was your stranger offer, right? What is that juicy value that you can create that will attract people and also qualify those people, right? So the types of examples of stranger offers that are really good are, blog posts on the top 5 niche destinations, if that's what your niche is, right? So Merlin, your destination is volunteer travel. So you're going to want to do something around, based on what your clients, when you've interviewed and you've done the research, what they're struggling with, something that's going to address that. You can do that in the form of a blog, right? A written article that you'll host on your site. You can do that in form of a guide. You can do that in form of a checklist. It doesn't matter. It's small piece of consumable information that allows your client to solve a problem, right? It's not supposed to be like, War and Peace book on all the solutions to everything that they want in the travel business. It really is addressing one major problem that they have, right? Small piece of information. And what you want that information, it can even be a video. It doesn't have to be written. It could be a video. It could be, but it's content. It's some sort of content that you're creating that you are going to entice them to want to give you their email address or contact information in exchange for that information. All right. It's intended to solve 10% of the solution. It's not intended to be, like I said, a full solution that teaches them everything there is about booking travel, getting their answers to every question that they've ever had. Small piece, entice them, and get them to come in and sort of give them a carrot so that they come in and they get inside of your funnel. All right. After the stranger offer, you may have heard of this word called tripwire. These words may be new to you, and that's fine. I just want you to really get the concept of what I'm talking about, which is really the gist of this particular page is multiple solutions for wherever your customer is in their journey, right? When they're a stranger, you want to give them an enticing offer that's going to address one piece of the puzzle. The tripwire is really, and the reason why it's called the tripwire is because it's tripping them into action, and the action that we want them to take this early in the relationship is to open their wallet. So it is a small piece of investment on their part, right? And it also can come in the form of time or a coupon or a discount, but this is the next step in the relationship, right? So you've gotten them to download your guide, right? Or read your blog posts. And the next thing that you want to do is you want to get them to open up their wallet, right? For a small fee, because what statistics say is once somebody opens their wallet, right, they become vested and are more willing to spend money with your business than they are when they don't. So if you get them early on to open up their wallet, right, even if it's for $5, $7, whatever it is, you most likely will be able to convert that person into your future products because they've already started to make a financial commitment. So this next offer that we do in your funnel is really intended around that, is to get them to make a commitment. And so some things that you can offer for your tripwire is discounted travel consultation, right? We haven't really talked about the fact that you guys need to be doing consultations and charging for that consultation, but this isn't the time for us to have the conversation, right? You should be charging for your consultations. And I'm not talking about your introduction discovery session, but really the time when you are ready to take their requirements and start to help them plan out their vacation, right? That whole process needs to have a fee around it. You could also have a fee, a service called Playing Your Time Off, right? And I've talked about this several times, which is you are helping them plan their vacation, their vacation time across the year. Whatever that tripwire is, it needs to relate to your core offer. So what we've got to do is define ultimately what it is that you are going to be selling on a regular basis. And so that's the next phase, right? So I'm going to take a little bit step back, because as you can see, each step builds upon the ladder, right? So I'm going to use Yolanda's business as an example. Maybe her core product, even though she wants to sell vacations, custom destination vacations, her core product could be wedding consultations that she charges $95 for, right? Wedding planning services, destination services that she charges $95. That's the core product that we're trying to sell many people into, right? And then ultimately she does a quote and then she gets them to book. And then that is the big ultimate product, right? Is the sell of that vacation, right? That's the core product. So we are going to define what your core service offering is going to be. Service offering, and then ultimately your travel offering. So I'm going to pause just for a second and make sure that you guys are still following me. Make sure there's not any questions there. I just dropped, but you guys are still there, right? Yes, I still see you guys there. All right, so tripwire relates to your core product, and then your profit maximizer is, let's say Yolanda is going to sell, her core product is going to be, she's going to sell $95, and again, I'm just picking this number, whatever the price point and whatever you decide, that's going to be. The core service offering that she wants to do is wedding destination planning, right? She's going to sell that service as a service, $95, and then a profit maximizer example would be is that she not only books the travel, she also provides on-site coordination, right? So she will go to the site, help with the site, and she charges $190, $2,000 for that, right? Believe it or not, there are customers who would potentially be interested in that, right? Same thing for Merlin. Maybe Merlin, your service is to help plan the entire group, the group travel for your volunteer trip, right? Or that's your service. And then your profit maximizer is you go on site on that particular mission trip, and you are responsible for all travel coordination, making sure everybody, gets checked in, gets managed, whatever. And then you charge a fee for that, right? The idea for the profit maximizer is that 1% to 2% of the people who buy your core product will want to buy your profit maximizer item, right? So again, you want to offer solutions based on what people and where they are in their buying process. It's not intended for every person that you get to buy your core product will buy your profit maximizer, but I want you to think of your profit maximizer in for your travel business as it do it for you, right? That you are there providing all-inclusive services, right? Maybe you're doing itinerary planning, maybe you're on site, right, available to them, or maybe you're on call available to them when they're traveling, right? That's what your profit maximizer services are going to be. Core product will be either your core, let's say if you're doing a prepackaged product, that would be your core product. If it's core services, it could be the fact that you are actually doing the planning for them, all-inclusive planning, right? Not just booking the travel, but doing all the planning and maybe all the communication to their friends and family on the trip. Tripwire is a small piece of that, right? It would be, you know, maybe a consultation, right, that you're going to do a discount of 50% consultation or some derivative of that core. And we'll go through and help and make sure that you've got this whole product suite defined for your business and your core services. All right, I'm going to pause before we go to the next page. Everybody good? Just make sure you guys are still there and you still are there, audio. All right, perfect. All right. Yes, good. All right, Yolanda, you good? Okay. All right, so next thing is, so again, I want you to think of buckets for your business and what you can put in terms of each bucket, in terms of a solution that you can provide your clients based on what you've discovered from them today, right? And I'm wanting you to think a little bit outside of the box. What can you give them for free? What could you charge them? That's going to be small. We want to keep this Tripwire offer less than $20, right? If you can't think of something, don't worry. We'll work through this. Core offer, what is it that you want to have as a core offer in your business, right? It's going to be a 60, 80% solution for you all. Each of you have, so like Tanika, for you, your core offer could be a prepackaged vacation trip, you know, to a particular area of the country that has great shopping, right? I don't know which areas of the country that you're working on, but that could be your core offer, right? Your profit maximizer could be that you'll be their personal guide, right, on this trip. And, or maybe you are, yeah, I mean, we got to think about the core, the profit maximizer for that kind of core offer, because you probably already want to go on the trip. But we could think about maybe, you know, I got to think about that for prepackaged items if you're attending the trip. But let's say you're doing a group trip for girls that you're not attending. Maybe the profit maximizers that you're attending, coordinating that and doing all of that. But hopefully you guys are getting the idea. I think I saw a note. All right, so here's an example of it all realized, and I've used Yolanda's as an example, is that her stranger offer could be, you know, plan your destination wedding in 5 steps, right? Her goal is to get, you know, get email addresses for this. And then her tripwire would be a wedding planner, a printable wedding planner, right? So somebody who downloads this, they would then get the option to buy a printable wedding planner for $7. And then her core offer would be a wedding travel consultation and planning service that she would charge for $250. And then the profit maximizer would be on-site wedding coordination, where she's charging $19.97 plus travel, where the person just shows up. She's going to be working with the suppliers, coordinator. She's got everything, the wedding bride, the whole team come to her to make sure that everything is going flawless, right? The idea for this profit maximizer is that it's do it for you, and the person who purchases that has nothing to worry about. They just show up and Yolanda's taking care of it all. So hopefully this gives you an example of how that can be realized in your business too. I want you guys to be thinking through how you can create these separate containers for your business. 1997 goes to you, Merlin. You are the wedding, I mean, she would be the wedding coordinator. So this is services. This is not to the supplier. This is you. So you've created a service where you're on site and your customer is paying you $19.97 for you to actually be there at the wedding or at the on the group trip, coordinating all that it is there. And you get to define how you want that to be. Yolanda's like, that would be that'd be awesome, right? That, but again, you've got to be able to create the service to offer the service. To hire someone else? No, you would be there. They're hiring you. So it's not that you would be hiring someone. I mean, I guess you could, but no, they're hiring you because they know, like, and trust you. They are going to hire you to show up to their travel destination and do their coordination. This kind of thing, when you're charging $19.97 plus travel, is really good for groups. Like if you're managing a group and the person who is there is, they want to have that extra coordination on site. They don't want to have to worry about it, right? People will pay that extra. Like I said, 1 to 2% of the people that purchase the core offer will want to purchase whatever maximizer, do it yourself, do it for them, not do it yourself, do it for them service that you create. So that's why I want you to think about that, because if you don't, you're leaving 1 to 2% of the population and additional dollars on the table. And the idea of the profit maximizer is that it needs to be expensive because it's your time that you are doing whatever it is for them, right? So I want you to think about that. For you, Merlin, you could have a similar do it for you service where you are actually on the mission trip, right? And you are actually coordinating all things relative to them getting to point A to point B to point C to point D, right? Maybe they've got multiple. I mean, I don't know what kind of trips these would be, but I don't know if you just go to one place, if maybe you're doing multiple stops within a location, and you would be coordinating all of that on site, right? That would be a profit maximizer type of thing, right? Yeah, so for cruises is that you could plan their let's say it's a cruise and they're going on a cruise and they want to do you could recommend do an upgrade of them doing like maybe a pre or post vacation where they are going to stay at their port for, let's say that instead of them porting out of Galveston, they're porting somewhere else or whatever, and you've planned a second vacation for them. So maybe it wouldn't be a profit maximizer. This would be referred to as an upsell, and you would be selling them additional travel, right? That would be one thing. I'd have to think through some profit maximizer ideas for you for the cruise side, but it would be around so for excursions, I don't know if you're including, most of your stuff is going to be upsells because excursions would be upsells. If you do a group trip and you are not attending, right? Again, you going on that group trip, that could be one of the things, making sure everybody gets checked in. Maybe, let's say it's a longer cruise, maybe, 15-day cruise, and they've got hotel and they've got, they're getting, because some of the Europe cruises are like that. They're getting off and they've got they've got time to go. You could do some itinerary planning for their cruise. So that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about there. But we've got to think about what your core offer is going to be. And then from there, I can tell you what your profit maximizer idea here. But the idea is I want you guys to be thinking about what could you be doing and selling more of above and beyond the core. So Z, let's walk through what you think your core offer is going to be, and then we can brainstorm some ideas for the profit maximizer. Additional excursions, absolutely. Those would be good add-ons. Those are really considered upsells, but you get the idea. And what you're saying, Merlin, is correct. Yes, so Merlin, you're asking, what if you don't know the area? What if you've never been to that location, right? And so this is what you've got to think about, right? When you are offering profit maximizers, what can you do? Now, I want you guys to think, you guys are not ever going to be alone when you do this, right? Because again, you've got your secret weapon, your travel suppliers. So it's not like even if you do this profit maximizer, that you're going to be out there, in your lonesome. You're going to be working directly with the travel suppliers, right? Whoever's responsible for transportation, right? You're going to be working with all of those people to help make all of this seamless for them. You just happen to be on site, but you're going to be responsible for that. So instead of whoever their lead person is who's working with you, trying to work with all these people, the reason they have you on site is so that they don't have to do that, and you'd be working directly with the suppliers, right? So wherever you're booking, let's say it's to some new place, right? We'd want to make sure you've got hooked up with the supplier. I would absolutely recommend a tour company if it's someplace exotic. But again, we've talked about this, Merlin, that your area, right, we've got to be really clear about who your suppliers are going to be for these areas. If it's going to be above and beyond airline and you're going to be checking hotel and that kind of stuff, if you're doing that, we've got to figure out what it is that you are going to be, because again, we want to make sure that you're connected. You guys, we're in an industry where we're not alone, right? It's not like I'm going to be going to some destination and I'm not going to have point people on the ground at that destination, right? I am going to have point people, and it's going to be the suppliers that I'm working with. So for example, Z, if you decided to go on, let's say you were going to be the planner for this person's trip, right? And you were going to go on the cruise. And yeah, I mean, I don't see that being a viable option as a profit maximizer, because cruises do have all the inclusive and all the stuff. But let's say you did a land trip and that was something that you did, and it was a group trip and they wanted to have a coordinator on site, right? You'd be the one who'd be working with the hotel. You'd be working with their daily transportation. You know, if food was included, you'd be making sure that their food accommodations were set and in place. That's the kind of stuff that you'd be doing. And you'd be working with all the suppliers and making sure that everybody was where they needed to be when they needed to be there, right? You'd be the one, you'd be on the bus, ticking the names and making sure that 10 people got on and 10 people got off, right? You'd be coordinating it. That's why they pay you for that, because then this person who's on there can actually just enjoy the trip and be an innocent bystander instead of the coordinator. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Keep asking questions. These are great questions. All right, so hold on. Make sure we're going the right way. Okay, so we've talked about this example. Let's talk about the process that we are going to create ultimately in your business. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed by the steps, but I am a process person and I love diagrams. So I want you to just sort of walk through ultimately what this course is building out for you. So this little guy, this blue guy here is your client, right? We are going to be creating an ad. They're going to see that ad. They're going to see that Facebook ad on Facebook, and they're going to click on your stranger offer. We're going to be working on that. We're not doing that right now, but they're going to be clicking on your ad, and they're going to say, hey, I really do want to see what the 5 best destinations are for weddings. Or boom, they're going to click on it, right? And they're going to click a link on that ad that's going to take them to a landing page. And that landing page is going to be where you're going to talk about all the 5 great wedding place destinations, right? It's going to talk about why you want to actually download it, why it's important for you to download it, and they're going to give you their email address. So they're going to say yes. They're going to give you their email address. And then what you're going to do is there's going to be another page behind that. And you're going to say, hey, thanks for your email address. I am about to send you via email your 5 destinations. Look out for it in an email. But in the meantime, since you're planning a wedding, I've got this great printable planner that only costs $7. Would you like to get it, right? And they're going to say yes. And then you're going to send it to them. You're going to collect their payment information, and then you're going to send them the planner, and then you're going to send them into an email list that's going to do some more stuff, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, right? That's the happy path. Well, what if they don't want to buy your planner and they're like, no, that's no problem. Then you're going to send them you're going to say, thank you very much for playing with me. and then you're going to send them into your email series, which is what we're going to be working on later. That's this big box here. This big box is where you continue to build a relationship, right? And you do that through emails, you do that through Facebook groups, you do that through more ads, whatever, but we're going to talk about all that in this course, right? Anytime your customer says no, we're going to throw them into an email series or throw them into a place where we can nurture them, okay? I'm going to pause here to make sure that there are no questions about this process. Where we are in the process right now in this course is we are creating the thing that they will receive once they click on the download, right? I mean, once they click on the ad, we're creating the thing that we are going to deliver to them, which is the guide, the blog post article, whatever is that thing that you want to deliver to your strangers. That is where we are right here. So this is what we're doing, is we're creating the supporting documents to support what they ultimately will be opting into, okay? All right, so hopefully everybody understands that. So each week we're going to go through this funnel process. I'm going to tell you where we are in the process and what we're working on. Right now, we're working on the supporting thing. Each week as we grow, we'll be working on some area of the process, but right now it's the supporting stranger offer that will go behind this landing page, okay? All right, so let's talk about this thing, right? I've given you guys some examples. We've talked about it several times, you know, and the thing is that you now have started to hear from your own customers what they're struggling with, where the potential gap is for you to create the thing that they would be interested in. You've got the knowledge. I don't have it as much as you guys have it. So let's talk about it, right? What is that stranger offer? It's the value, right, that solves a problem or addresses an interest point for them in the form of content that your prospects will be willing to give for emails, right? Their email information. You guys participate in this sales funnel stuff all the time. And until this time, you probably didn't even know it, right? You participated it with me to meet me, right? Each of you guys downloaded a thing of mine to meet me, right? And out of that introduction, I built a relationship that allowed you to get to the point that you are. You are part of this and experiencing this sales funnel process all of the time. And so you are now going to create that very thing that your customer wants or is interested in, that they'll be like, oh my gosh, I do want that. Let me give her my email address. I'm interested in this, right? It's the carrot, it's the bait, right? It's the bait to reel them in to your world, right? And you need this thing so that you can start the relationship, right? And it's got to be connected to your core signature offer, right? We don't want to give them random stuff, right? Like, you know, for you, Merlin, you're not going to want to give them, you know, a free vacation to Las Vegas as your thing to get people interested into your volunteer travel business, right? You did it to get them to give you a marketing interview, but your thing that you want to attract strangers is not a Las Vegas vacation, right? You don't want to do like a free iPad, right, to get people on your email address, because it doesn't relate to anything that is your business. Now, you'll get a lot of emails, but it won't be the types of customers that are ultimately going to be interested in your business. So that's the reason why the stranger offer needs to be connected to your core offer, or ultimately what you want to sell. Like, it would make zero sense for me to say, hey, you know, here's a guide on how to build a car, right? And all the people that download my guide, and then I start selling business coaching services, right? They're going to be like, what the hell? I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in you. Like, what are you talking about, right? So you want to make sure that there's a connection there. You want this thing to be a solution, right? Or transformation that you can address. If you know your customers are dreaming about opportunities for their families to be connected, right? You don't want to then talk about something other than that. You want to be talking about, how to get your family more connected. And here's the one thing to do that, right? This is a type of offer. This is not something that's random. We don't want to be, you guys do not want to be talking about kittens. You don't want to be talking about dogs. You want to be talking about the solution related to the problem that's connected to your offer. All right, so here's some examples of documents and articles, right? These are things that people love, and these are travel related things. I went to Pinterest and found these examples, right? These are 9 travel tips for safe solo adventures, right? Great thing for you, Merlin, for you to offer is something that's similar to that. For Z, top 5 cruises for families, right? This talks about what those cruises are. For Yolanda, I did 7 mistakes that brides make when planning a beach wedding, right? This is what your clients are probably interested in. Extras to add to your cruise packing list. These are things that your customers would be interested in, right? Whatever your customer is interested in, you can create these in the form of content, right? These are all, like when I clicked on it, like some of them were blogs, some of them were actual download documents, some of them were checklists, some of them were infographics. They can be any type of content type, right? You want to keep it to 1 to 2 pages in terms of the core content. And, you want to list out the steps to solve or to do one task. Again, you're not trying to solve all of their problems. One big problem is what you're trying to address with your thing. Okay, I always like to remind you guys that videos are great stranger offers. People love to consume video content, and you can create a video about your thing, right? It doesn't have to be a downloadable. It could be access to the video. And if you guys decide that you want to do a video, let me know, and then we will be building that out. So instead of you delivering a downloadable document, you'll be delivering them access to the video link, right? And so I'll show you how to do that if video is one of your options. But here, best practices for videos is you just want to keep it to 45 to 90 seconds, right? This doesn't have to be an hour-long video, right? It doesn't have to be, forever and ever information, all about, again, short, consumable information that your clients are going to be interested in, right? You, for example, any one of you who are thinking about doing tips for, yes, okay, Tanika's like, yes, video, please. Anyone who's thinking about doing tips, you can do them in the form of a video. You can do 7 tips and then do it in the form of a video and talk about the 7 tips or 5 tips or however many tips that you want to do. Before and after transformation images. We are in the travel business, right? So, you can talk about how easy it is to, I was actually thinking about for before and after transformation. It's not really a before and after as much as one of the video tips that I was thinking about, or videos that could be done, is a virtual tour of a cruise ship, right? A virtual tour of, let's say, your wedding destination, the meeting space, or the space where they be getting wedding, right? Or an example of a wedding, right? And show them and clip that together, right? Your suppliers may already have video that you can download and use as your stranger offer. Again, guys, we are in the best industry where we have the biggest amount of support from our vendors, right? So again, it's not like you have to do all this alone. This is the reason why I want you to have already reached out or at least begin the relationship with your suppliers, because if you tell them what you're doing, they will help you with this content. This is not something that you have to do by yourself. So we're not alone. If you know what your niche is, like Z just said, she says, I have video clips from a ship, right? That may be a good idea. Again, I want you guys to work with your BDMs and tell them, I'm creating this sales funnel and I want this type of offer. What do you recommend? What are your thoughts? Because they are there to help you. You're not going to have to do it alone. But video clips, great idea. Great way, particularly if you've got new ships and that's going to be your core offer, is trips to that new ship. That's been built. Z, that would be a great stranger offer, is to take a tour of the ship and why it's so family friendly and that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, so advanced types of offers. You guys may not be ready for this, but I'm going to add it just in case. Webinars are great. You guys are probably like, really, webinar, right? A webinar that explains, I'm thinking of you, Merlin, when I think of webinars, right? Because what I'm thinking for a webinar for you, which is really just, that's usually longer. It is something that somebody signs up to participate in, and it's usually 60 to 90 minutes worth of information. And in webinars, what you can do is you get the opportunity to really connect with people in a video format, but you're educating them on something, right? And for your volunteer travel, you could do a webinar on, considerations and what you need to think about when selecting a mission trip to go on, right? Travel being one of the biggest concerns. And then at the conclusion of the webinar, you've spent that 60 to 90 minutes, demonstrating value, giving them exactly the type of information that they need. And at the end of the webinar, you are offering a call to action. And that could be a consultation, right, with you, or, a discovery call or whatever. And ultimately what you're doing is selling them into your services, right? Challenges are also great, stranger offers. So for you guys, I really haven't thought of any challenge ideas, but contests are also great stranger offers relative to what it is that you guys are doing. And then free consultations. I will tell you that free consultations is the least of my for any of you guys as a stranger offer, because one of the things that you want to remember is your stranger offer should require 0 of your time, meaning you want this to be on autopilot, meaning you don't want to, if you are getting, you're spending ad dollars and you're getting 15 to 25 emails a day, you don't want then for you to have to be on 15 to 20 consultations trying to weed these people out. The whole purpose of the stranger offer is for them to self-weed themselves out, and that you then can build a relationship that doesn't require your time. We're not trying to trade hours for time. No, you don't have to wait until you have a larger email list, right? But again, your challenge is intended to attract strangers. Now, you could have a challenge for your existing email list, and I think that's great to build momentum. But again, the activity that we're doing here is to attract strangers, right? And I think when we talked, your challenge is for people who are already going on your trip. They're already spent the dollars, already spending the dollars. So I would do something that would not require you a lot of time, right? On your part to nurture the relationship. I think a challenge is great. I'm just saying it takes a lot of work to orchestrate a challenge, the type of challenge that I'm talking about. So I want you guys to think about the 5-day challenge that you guys participated in to get into this program, right? That's a 5-day challenge. Each day we had a lesson, each day I went live, each day there was emails. There's a whole slew of things that go into nurturing a stranger into a challenge, ultimately into your item. Your weight loss challenge is a great sort of feel good type of activity that you can create for everybody who's going on the boat as a, in between activity. So I think you can do that, but I don't think is equal to a stranger offer. Okay, who's going to make sure we're going in the right area? All right, so here's some characteristics of a stranger offer that you want to keep in mind. It needs to be ultra specific. It cannot be general, right? You don't want, five things to consider when you're planning a wedding, right? It needs to be destination wedding. And, even if it's a destination wedding to a specific destination, that would be ultra specific. It's just the relationship from browser to consumer. And that's what you want. You want somebody who's surfing through, they're doing the finger swipe on their phone or their device, right? And you want them to stop. So they have made themselves somebody who is not just a seer of information, but a consumer of your information, right? It's one big thing that you're solving, not multiple things. Don't try and solve, how to pack, how to get your visa, how to do all these things. That's not what you want to do. You want to solve one big thing. So keep it simple. It has to have a high perceived value, meaning your customer, prospective customer, needs to be interested in it, right? So that's why I say if you're talking to cat lovers, don't talk about dogs, right? That's not valuable to them. If you're talking about volunteer travel, let's not talk about romping on the beach, with your BFF or, your beau, to have a romantic getaway. That's not valuable to somebody who's potentially doing volunteer travel, right? It needs to speak specifically to your customers and desire, which means whatever they want to solve in terms of their struggle or whatever they desire in terms of their needs, wants, whatever, it needs to speak to that, right? So again, I don't want, I don't want Z talking about romantic getaways. I don't want, Yolanda talking about volunteer travel, right? I want you guys making sure that you're talking directly to your customer. That is the reason why we spent the time identifying what your customers want, right? Is so that and you're not having to try and guess that. You know exactly what they want their end result to be. You know exactly what they're struggling with, right? So that's what we want to make sure that the stranger offer is speaking to. It also needs to give them immediate gratification. This is why I'm saying you do not want to give them an ebook that's, 100 pages long. You don't want to give them, War and Peace. If you guys know that book, it's a really big, 1,000-page book. That's not what you're trying to do. They need to be able to consume this within 5 minutes, right? Ultimately, the stranger offer needs to be consumable within 5 minutes. Now, if you're doing a webinar, and I said that's 60 to 90 minutes, the consumption of your opt-in page is the fact that they are interested and ready to commit that time means you've moved them quickly. You've sold them on a need and they're willing to give you 90 minutes of their time to learn about how to solve that problem, right? They consume the information and they're ready to move to the next step. So that's okay if you decide to do a webinar or a challenge. You've moved them quickly through the customer relationship. Rapid consumption. I want you to think it needs to be consumable rapidly. That's why we're not in that immediate exchange giving them something that's going to be very long to consume. So quick, 5 minutes or less, needs to solve a problem, needs to be super specific, because what all of these characteristics have in common is that the person that selects and opts in immediately equals a qualification. They are somebody that will have proven to be your prospective customer by virtue of them opting in. That is what we're designing, is a qualification mechanism that says if they opt in, they're interested in my type of business because the type of offer I've given them, anybody else wouldn't have selected it. Okay? So just checking the chat, make sure there's not any questions there. And don't worry, as you guys come up with your ideas, I'll want you to be inside of the room, giving me those ideas, making sure that we've talked through it so that you can make sure that we're on the right page. All right, so what do you need to know when you're creating your stranger offer? So if you are even doing a video, right? Or if you're doing a written document or whatever it is, you want to have these characteristics about your document and your video. You want to have a cover page, right? That's going to talk about what the name of the offer is. It's going to have an image associated with it. It's going to have an introduction section, right? So if it's written, it'll be an introduction page. If it's a video, it'll be an introduction to whatever it is that you're talking about. And then your content considerations will be the core content, right? And you want to keep that one. You can go, I've had some guides be as long as 5 pages because it's 5 steps. I have a page for each step. Again, you don't want it to be too lengthy. You just want it to be just enough for them to be able to consume it in that period of time. Things for you to think about when you're thinking about content considerations is you want to make sure your headline is popping, right? It's relevant to whatever their problem, it's addressing their problem or specifically identifying what the problem is or their end result is. You want to make sure that you have imagery in your content, right? And that you want to make sure that it's valuable content, right? You don't want to just, and then you want to also make sure you've spell checked and you do that. I'm going to tell you I'm notorious. I'm like the worst speller, and I fat finger everything, as you guys probably can tell. And so, do as I do, which is try and have somebody else read your stuff to catch that kind of stuff. Because again, this is like your first date, right? This is the first introduction to your business. And I will tell you, even though your personality shines through, there'll always be some Yahoo who's going to auto-correct you or send you an email and tell you about all your misspellings. So just avoid that if you can. Just make it good, valuable content, right? Don't be putting together some slip-shoddy stuff, right? Make this a good introduction of your business and the value that you bring to the table. And then you want to have an About Me section, which is going to really talk about who you are and how you address your customer base's problems, issues, needs, desires, right? So it's really going to be about how you, as the owner of the travel agency, how you uniquely service your clients. And if you have testimonials, you'll include it. I know that you guys may not have that yet, but that's something that we'll ultimately want to get to. And then always, 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 your stranger offer needs to have a call to action and or next steps in terms of how they can get in contact with you, right? My favorite call to action is the tripwire. So if, for Yolanda, an example I gave you and I said, hey, here's the 5 destinations, and your tripwire is the planner, right? In my About Me section, the last paragraph talks about how amazing the planner is and why you need the planner. Don't do it by yourself. Here's a link to get it, $7, boom, right? Or, hey person, I know that you are ready to do whatever. Let's book a discovery call. Boom, here's a link to book a discovery call. Whatever it is, you always want to have next steps in your call to action. Same thing with your videos, right? So even if you have a standard video, we're going to want to put your face in the front of that, right? There's going to be an image of you in the front of it. It's going to be a title, some introduction, core video, and then it's going to have an outro on the back, which is going to be an about you, who your travel agency is, and how to get in contact with you, next steps, right? So that is all that we would want our stranger offer to include. Do not skip these steps, okay? Because again, this is bait. We are pulling them into the funnel, right? We're pulling them in closer to us, right? When I first started and I didn't have a tripwire and I didn't have that, my call to action was an invitation to my Facebook group, right? Because that's where I did all of my work. I nurtured the hell out of people in there. I showed up every day. I'm posting every day, blah, 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 right? So even if you don't have it ready, at least invite them to, meet with you or come into your Facebook group or whatever that next step is. We want to make sure that we've done that. We've extended the invitation. All right, tools to create your stranger offer. Canva, PowerPoint. You should be building out your copy vault, which has your keywords. You're going to want to use that. Stock photos, photos of you. All of these are tools that are going to help you build out your stranger offer. Lots of imagery is in my stranger offer, in my offers. So I'm using either stock photos, the keywords, the language I'm using is coming from my marketing research. I use PowerPoint to create everything. In your lesson this week, I've given you examples on how to create a stranger offer using Canva and PowerPoint, so you can pick those two. I don't really care what you use. If you decide to do video, obviously you need a camera and a way to do that, right? Or existing video, right? That's the great thing. I will also tell you, I should have put this as a tool. You can outsource this, right? You can come up with the content, and then you can go to Fiverr and have Fiverr person create the whole document for you, right? I've given you enough tools for you to do it yourself, but if you're just like, bunk that, I don't even want to do that, you can outsource it, right? But that's what I'm telling you. Do not let your fear of being able to not do this be the thing that is the reason you don't do it, right? We can get her done as long as you've got the content. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. You guys are still there, right? What is Fiverr? Fiverr is the best kept secret in the world. We're going to be talking about this when we talk about operations in the next couple of weeks, but Fiverr is an online community of freelancers, and the name of the business came from the fact that they charge $5. The starting price for services, freelance services, is $5. So you can get graphic arts design, you get documents design, you get video editing, you get all sorts of things that you can think of. You can get that done or sourced on Fiverr. And it's Fiverr, and it's called Fiverr. I've used them for a lot of different freelance jobs, but like creating these type of PDF documents, they can do it. Now, I think that, if you need help doing it, to get quality work, you usually have to upgrade and spend a little bit more money to get quality work. Like maybe, let's say you want to do a logo. Most people say they'll give you a logo for $5. I recommend upgrading to at least $25, sometimes $50 to get a logo that really is going to be a logo that you can use. So, but anyway, the starting point for the services are usually $5. Okay, I don't know why it keeps ending. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I have the wrong. I'm sorry, hold on a second. I think I have the wrong document open. Let's make sure. Am I done? Am I done talking? Maybe I am done talking. I think I am done talking. I thought I had more, but that's it. It's your tools. It's your tools is the last bit of conversation. That's kind of funny. I thought I had more to say, but I guess I'm done. I think, yeah, we pretty much have covered everything. All right, so your workbook. Let's go through the workbook really quick because the workbook's got all the juicy stuff in it. So hopefully you guys have downloaded your workbook and you're utilizing your workbook, but let's open that because in the workbook, we are right at the top of the hour. That couldn't have been planned any better. I tried not to keep you guys greater than an hour, but let me just make sure the workbook, because I was going to do more information and I cut it as to not overwhelm you guys. So let me make sure I did not skip anything. All right, so we've talked about that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we've covered it all. I guess I shocked myself. So let me pause and ask you guys, do you have any questions? Have you thought about, you guys still, again, we've talked about stranger offer. We talked about it during the 5-day challenge. So hopefully you guys have thought about some stranger offers even before you did the market research. But now that you've done, or you're in the process of marketing research and you're seeing what is out there and you're seeing who your customer is, the idea of what your containers should be in terms of your product suite should start to naturally be filling itself, right? What would be a good free offer for your customers to, take the bite and start to be drawn in, right? What could you offer as a tripwire? We're going to be talking next week about the characteristics of your tripwire. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that next week. That is all that we're going to be doing next week so that you guys have some time to catch up next week. So next week will just be tripwire, but I really want you to start thinking about, what's your freebie going to be? I want you to start working on that We'll be working on Tripwire next week. And then after we go through operations, we're going to actually start building out the pages. All right, any questions? Because if not, ladies, I'm going to let you go. Nope? You guys good? No questions yet? All right, no questions? All right, great. So then this week for you guys, we have 2 live lessons. Thursday, we're going to do social media. But, you know, really your focus for this week is I want you to thinking about your stranger offer, and I want you to start good core. What does that mean? Good COR. I don't know what that means. Yolanda, tell me what that means. If it was me writing on my phone, I would it would have been like some completely unlegible. I fat finger everything. But this week, your focus is on creating your stranger offer, thinking about what it is. I want you guys to come in the room. No problem. Come in the group. Let me know what your titles are, what you're thinking about it is, because again, we want to make sure that's ultra specific. And again, I'm going to rely on you to understand your customers to make sure that it's the right type. I'm going to help tweak your titles, make sure, you know, if you want and you've created the content, share the content. I'll look over it. So you guys feel free to send to me via email any of the stranger content that you guys have created, and I'll be ready to look over that. You absolutely can use another person's stranger offer. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to use somebody else's download, and you don't want to copyright infringe upon them. But let me give you some tips here. I'm not going to lie, you all are not going to be creating anything that is new under the sun, earth, and moon, right? Paraphrasing is my perfect word, right? Go to the internet. I thought I had a slide on that, but I guess I didn't. Pinterest is an amazing tool to use for you to get inspiration. So if you can't think of anything to write a checklist about, or you can't think of 5 destinations, right? You do not have to start from scratch, right? Start with Pinterest. Pinterest is a great source in Google. So I get all of my source ideas from Google, Pinterest, right? See what they come up. I've been known to take content from Pinterest, Google, mash it together based on what message I want to portray. But again, you do not have to, you know, like sit with a blank page and be like, what should I talk about? What are the 5 top niches? I don't know that, right? You don't need to know it. Go Google it, right? Go Google it and put it together. The reason why being an online entrepreneur can be one of the most frustrating and non-frustrating jobs in the same thing is because people are lazy. So you as an entrepreneur get to take advantage of that, right? And what I mean by that is people do not want to surf and go through the 50 million results that they're going to get when they do top 5 destinations to do whatever, fill in the blank, or top ways to do that, right? The information is at their fingertips, but people are lazy. They don't like to read. They don't like to research. They don't like to do that, right? And the reason why you are going to make a lot of money is because you are not going to let a little thing like research stand in your way from your money, right? So you are what can be referred to as an information aggregator. You're going to help make this so easy for them to consume that you're going to take it off their hands, right? And again, it's not like you've got to do this every single time. Once you create the stranger offer and we get ads running to it and we get those ads successfully doing it, boom, you're done. It's not like you've got to do it every single week. You do this activity one time. We're going to build it out, make sure that people are liking it and consume it, and you've built this process once. That is the beauty of a sales funnel. Ladies, start with Google, start with Pinterest for your niche. And I'm telling you, I already did the search when I was looking for pictures in Pinterest for each of you, and each of you have content available on Pinterest. So don't come back to me and tell me it's not there because I've already done it. Yes, the answer to that is Merlin, yes. Should we choose one bucket or one audience? Yes, we are trying to speak to one of your buckets, not all of them, one of your buckets. The answer to making anything broad is always no. You never want anything too broad. You want to be talking, everything that we will be doing will be speaking to the one bucket, right? That one client who fits that bucket, who's the ideal client for that particular bucket. So all of marketing, the more specific you are, the more money you'll make. The more general you are, the more confused your people will be, and the less money you will make. So think specific. One bucket, one message, one stranger offer. So where you may be doing repetition is let's say, Yolanda wants to do wedding destinations to Jamaica, right? Now, Yolanda can do the five top wedding destinations, right? And one of the choices obviously is going to be her choice destination of Jamaica or the Caribbean or wherever her destination is that she wants to focus on, right? Because that's going to be there. Now that's going to speak to people in general who want to get elope, right? But of course she's going to be leading people to one of the major ones that is her item. My recommendation is that she have suppliers for all of the options that she provides. But here, hers is a little bit more general. For you, Merlin, are you speaking to corporate people or are you speaking to the traveler who wants to go and volunteer? That's the kind of categorization you need to do, right? Are you trying to attract people who want to book travel for their trip, or are you talking to companies you want them to use? You need to be clear about that and speak to them. That's a great question, Merlin. I love that question. How often should you do stranger offers? I do stranger offers based on new services or product offerings that I'm doing. So, or I create one and I don't get the results that I think. I haven't hit the mark, and I'll be able to tell that based on how many people are opting in. If nobody's buying it, and I don't mean buying it, I mean actually opting in, I'm not converting it, I'll change it out because something's not connecting, right? But before I have to rewrite or redo a whole stranger offer, it'll be something else that needs to be tweaked that we'll work on. So I usually do one stranger offer per sales funnel. If I start, when I first start a new initiative and I meet more people and I start to hear them say the same thing over and over, then I will create maybe an offer. And I'll use this business as an example, my coaching business. When I started the Facebook group, I started last year, that you guys are in the free Facebook group. I kept hearing, so my stranger offer was a 5-step guide on how to launch your travel business. But inside of the group, I kept hearing people tell me about travel niche. They don't know about travel niches. They can't think about what to do. So it became painfully clear to me that a good stranger offer would be to do, 50 plus travel niche ideas, right? And so then I created an opt-in for the stranger offer. So your people will tell you that by virtue of how often you hear it. If people are talking about it enough, it's probably a good idea to do a stranger offer on it, because that means that when you run ads on it, people are going to click on it. It's going to cost you, it's going to be cheaper per click for you to convert them. So I would start with one, and you're gonna think, oh, even if you come up with a list of 5, 10, or whatever, do one. Once you get tired of it, and you'll know too when you're running ads that, maybe after a year or two, or 6 months, you're like, I'm not getting as much, whatever, maybe I need to switch it out. But right now, start with one. Now, again, you have a stranger offer per group, right? If it's a different audience, different avatar, different issues, different characteristics, different language, stranger offer per group. So again, stranger offers usually do not cross your audience types because the language that you use, but you could even have the same stranger offer and have different ads running to them. I've done that, have different imagery, right? Maybe I'm trying to attract a younger person, so I may have a different image. So again, we just need one stranger offer right now. depending on the different groups, right? Because I don't know that I know what groups you've ended up with. If you tell me the types of groups and then what you're coming up with stranger offers, we can talk through that. So post that in the group when you're ready, if you're ready to share the types of groups that you're ready to start to build out a funnel for. But right now, this course, I want you to focus on one group, one sales funnel. Once you learn the process, you can repeat. Okay. Any other questions? This right here. So start with Google, so I think Merlin asked, can you use somebody else's stranger offer? That's one way. So you're creating a stranger offer from you garnishing the information that's out there on the internet from other people's potential offers, right? That's one approach. Another approach is if you find a blog, let's say you find a blog post and that blog post or that article is amazing, right? I don't recommend you do this as your initial thing, but you can actually like okey doke people where you put a opt-in page in front of that article and then ultimately you deliver them that article. The reason why I don't opt for that option is because you then don't, after that you send them to the article location, you don't get to show them your tripwire. You don't get to get them further down your funnel. The only option for you to do is to take them straight to email. That's an option. I don't recommend you guys doing that right now because, again, I really want you to build out a full funnel so that you can at least start to make a little bit of sales on your tripwire and help pay for your ads and that kind of stuff. So I really want you to follow the full process, which we're going to create pages. You're going to create an offer, a video, even if it's piecemeal from somebody else's content. I want you to deliver your own piece of authentic content. Okay, ladies, we are meeting on Thursday. First hour is going to be social media. Second hour will be Q&A if you guys have any questions. So bring your questions to Thursday's session. Bring them also inside of the group. And based on that, I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Talk soon.